Speak like a Gringo. Chapter 3. Drop that F. Hola, and welcome to Speak Like a Gringo. This is the third program in the series, and I'm sorry to say, the last easy one. After this lesson, we will start making sounds that gringos make all the time, but that may be unfamiliar to native speakers of Spanish. Today, however, you don't need to make any new sounds. In fact, I am going to try to get you to stop making a sound that you are used to making, the sound of the letter E. Eh. Eh. This sound is used both in Spanish and in English. But there are two situations in English where gringos do not make the S sound, while native Spanish speakers often do. So, if you want to speak like a gringo, you must get rid of that eh. The first situation we will cover is words that begin with the letter S followed by a consonant. There are dozens, if not hundreds, of these words in English, so you will be using them a lot. A few examples are school, snack, sports, and stop. Native speakers of Spanish often pronounce these words with an eh sound at the beginning. For example, they will say eschool instead of school, or estop instead of stop. This is because in Spanish, words do not begin with an S followed by a consonant. Another reason it can be difficult for native speakers of Spanish to leave off the S sound is because the Spanish equivalents of many common English words begin with that eh sound. Think of espinaca, which is spinach in English, or escuela, which is school in English. But don't worry, as usual, I have a trick that will let you use what you know from Spanish to help you speak English like a gringo. Lots of Spanish words start with the S sound, although it may be spelled with the letter C. Think of words like señor or cinco. In both of those words, the S is followed by a vowel so that they do not sound ugly in Spanish. Whenever you run across a word in English, however, that begins with S, even if a consonant comes next, you should pronounce the word by starting with the S sound, like in señor or cinco. So let's do a little practice. Repeat after me. School, school. Snack, snack. Sports, sports. Stop, stop. Here is another tip you may find useful. Think of a word that starts with S that is not followed by a consonant, then just drop that consonant into the middle of that word. Let me give you an example. If you want to say the word spin, think of the word sin, then drop a P in the middle. Sin, spin. You try it. Sin, spin. Here's another example. Sock, stock. Your turn. Sock, stock. Very good. The other situation we will cover today is verbs in the past tense ending in ed. Again, there are hundreds of these, so let me help you understand how gringos pronounce them. In most cases, you do not need to pronounce the E. In other words, having ed at the end of the word does not add another syllable. Let me give you some examples. Baked, played, worked, hoped. Notice how each of these words had just one syllable. In Spanish, every time you see a vowel, you need to give it a syllable of its own. For this reason, many native Spanish speakers would pronounce these words with two syllables. For example, they might say baked instead of baked, or hoped instead of hoped. So try saying some of these words without adding an extra syllable. Repeat after me. Baked, baked. Played, played. Worked, worked. Hoped, hoped. That's easy, right? Well, unfortunately, things are never easy in English. Because whenever you say a word that ends in ed preceded by either a d or a t, guess what? You do have to pronounce the e, which means the ed adds a syllable. So let's practice a few DED and TED words to make this clear. Repeat after me. Wanted, wanted. Faded, faded. Dated, dated. Folded, folded. I hope this lesson has helped you recognize some situations where you may be tempted to add a syllable with the eh sound, but where gringos leave out the eh. Please check out the other videos in the Speak Like a Gringo series and leave your comments or suggestions for other topics to cover. Bye-bye.